Thank you for listening to The Real Deal with Damian Adams. This is Real Sports Talk for the Real Sports fan. And I definitely appreciate all you Real Sports fans who are listening right now. If you're listening on iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, thank you, thank you, thank you. And please do not forget to go to the Ratings Review page and give us that 5-star rating at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That 5-star rating and review would definitely be appreciated. If you're listening on the 3-Point Conversion Station on Spreaker Radio, thank you, thank you, thank you. The 3-Point Conversion Station is where fans' opinions matter. So if you have an opinion on the show, please let me know what that opinion is. If you think the show is hot, say it loud. I think the show is hot and I'm proud. If you think the show can improve, don't say it as loudly, but let me know, and I can take your criticism into consideration because I need both your criticisms and your praises to be great at my job. Now, I'm very excited about today's show. I have a lot of things to cover. Talk about Robert Kraft. We're going to talk about the NFL Combine, NFL Draft, basketball, LeBron, Lakers, Celtics. A lot to cover. And to cover all these topics, I can't do it by myself. So I need someone who I know knows their sports, someone who I can go to about these topics who could be honest and fair. This guy was a 9-year NFL veteran. He played for the Raiders and the Jaguars. He's one time dunked on Gilbert Arenas. He's one of the few people. He's one of the few people in the world who saw DK Metcalf at 6'3", 230, run a 4.3. It was like, I used to be able to do that. Talk about my man Jerry Porter. What's going on, Jerry?
How you doing, sir? How you?
Doing pretty good, man.
I think we've evolved to a point where I don't need such a long intro anymore. I'm almost like a piece of furniture now. I'm a part of the show now. I mean, I don't want to overstep my boundaries, but if you got any listeners who know, it's me. I'm back.
That's true. Now, you are definitely family on the show, and I think it's your 4th time now, so you definitely have become a staple now of the show, and I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, I like staples. Just so long as they don't poke you in the wrong spot.
I definitely am glad to have you on today. We got a lot to cover, and I haven't done a show since the whole Robert Kraft thing went down.
Oh.
So I wanted to at least talk to you about that. And for people who are not familiar, Robert Kraft is the owner of the New England Patriots. And
Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Yes.
I mean, I think he's a little better known for his Kraft dinner, as they say in Canada. The American cheese slices that you go and pay, I think it's a premium on them. They smell so good. I think Velveeta's under the umbrella. But, and he has a side gig where he, has his team in the Boston area where they just keep winning championships. Didn't they just win one?
Yes, they did. That is correct.
Think he was out celebrating too much?
That's the thing. It seems like he was doing the celebrating beforehand that got him in trouble.
Yeah.
So, like you mentioned, that he got that Kraft mac and cheese money. And he was out spending that money in the wrong way. Right? He got caught up in, let me break it down. He's a very small part, of a much bigger scandal.
Right.
The Florida Police Department and feds in that area cracked down on a massage parlor that was a part of a human sex trafficking ring, right? And one of the people who was partaking in buying of sex from this massage parlor was Robert Kraft, along with other rich and powerful people. Now, I don't know if he knew about the human sex trafficking part. I would hope he didn't, but you don't know. But he got charged with a misdemeanor of soliciting a prostitute. Basically, he got charged with paying for sex. So I'm going to go to you. What do you think the NFL should do in this situation?
Well, jury of his of public opinion, he's already guilty. But the man is pled innocent, and he's awaiting his day in court. So I'd like to operate on the premise that the man didn't do anything, because I mean, what do we have if soon as somebody accuses you of something, everybody else just jumps on and you automatically did it, and you spend your whole time trying to prove yourself innocent. Where aren't you supposed to be innocent until proven guilty? With that being said, the officers in the Florida county in which this incident happened, they say they have the video of Mr. Kraft doing X, Y, and or Z, or the young woman doing X, Y, and or Z to him, which is to say, why do they have that video? How do they have that video? Is this some type of a setup? Like, the man is billionaire rich. That means all I know is I think his wife passed away from cancer, or passed away somehow in the years previous. Which is he could get, you see him partying with Meek Mill and all of these rappers. You know how many women would still just throw themselves at a billionaire like that? So to say he went somewhere and outwardly sought out to pay $59.99 plus an extra 20 or whatever the hell they said he did is actually it seems far fetched now. The more I sit there and think about it, the more I'm kind of on his side. Now, if the acts took place, hey, I mean, they may have been able to say that the people say, "Oh, I know this person who comes in here. Maybe you can show this and give us. We'll get him in this and you give us leniency." Kind of like what the politicians do. They'll snitch or rat on somebody else for a lesser charge on their side. So I'm going to operate on under the umbrella that the man didn't do anything wrong in his setup, and nobody else has said that. That's just my own thinking.
Okay, now I definitely can see that. Now, if they do have video, where you go from there. And also with the NFL, they have set up this precedent where you don't have to be guilty. Essentially, they've punished players. Exactly.
The Ezekiel Elliott thing, where if we feel like you did it, whether you did it or not, and we're going to do whatever we want to you. Yeah, that they operate under strongman laws. I don't know how that works, because if you really think what owner has done anything, the owner of the Colts,
Jim Irsay,
I think it's Irsay, $23,000 and countless kills on him as he gets the DUI. Now that's a felony. If this is really if you really take into itemize what the counts are, things are going to be against Robert Kraft, it's a misdemeanor. The worst it should be is he's already been embarrassed by his name being drugged through all this nonsense, but you can't do anything more than suspend him a game or two, because it's a misdemeanor. The crime, the punishment has to fit the crime. So he wasn't out getting somebody off the street. If he did it, he engaged in a sex act at a massage parlor. I mean, while that's illegal to a certain extent, but I don't know how the numbers go, but they already said it's a misdemeanor, so it's essentially like a parking ticket.
Yeah, they already said that he wouldn't face any jail time. He probably wouldn't even have to go to court. Honestly, if he would have pleaded guilty, if he said he did it, he wouldn't even have to go to court. But I guess my views on it are kind of controversial. If a person, man or woman, wants to sell their body and they're not forced to, I don't see why it's illegal. Now, the part that's bigger, the human sex trafficking part, of course, is horrible, right? That part is horrible, and I'm glad they put a stop to that part of it in Florida right there at that massage parlor. Now, if he did partake in this and he had no idea about the human sex trafficking part, which it's hard for me to believe that he did. Why would you even partake in that at the man of his status? Why would you even be interested in doing something like that?
Absolutely. He's got billions. Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to get him, an extra 100,000 or whatever? I mean, I don't want to like down talk it like it's not important, but I mean, it's a huge deal. But the man has made his money. He's partnered with Gillette. You know, the razors everybody enjoys shaving their body and making themselves all nice and presentable for their other partner.
Yeah.
Gillette Stadium. Kraft macaroni and cheese. This dude is worldwide, and he wants to know. He can go mail order purchase a bride and send her back every month if he wants to. So I see a lot of holes in this. I feel like I really like. The more I sit here and talk to you about it, I really think that this is some type of a setup where they know he frequents that massage parlor. And contrary to popular beliefs, those massage parlors do serve a purpose. Like, you can go in there and get a nice 45-minute massage. Like, you don't have a person that comes to your house to massage you. You need a massage. Like, you travel a lot. I mean, this guy is the worst for life. He travels on private jets and goes from car. He never has to wait at the airport. His flights aren't delayed. But for whatever reason, he's an old man. He likes to get massage. Being massaged feels good. Now,
yes.
The aftermath of his massage, I don't know how that worked. For his sake, I don't even want to say he asked for it or whatever happened, but I'm still giving him the benefit of the doubt. Sorry, I'm rambling.
Nah, no problem. Like, I definitely understand where you're coming from. You want to have the innocence until proven guilty. That should still mean something, which in today's world, it feels like it doesn't. We mentioned the Ezekiel Elliott case where I saw holes in that story all the way through, and I'm still against NFL for suspending him when there was so many holes, and it seemed like maybe that woman wanted revenge on him for not wanting a relationship.
Tom Brady.
So,
Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady one as well, like the Deflategate. So, with the NFL, because they set this precedent, they have to do something. If they don't do something, then it's like, okay, you're being preferential to the owners. So for me, what I would say is that they have to suspend them like a game or two, nothing crazy, a fine, which, to him, somebody who's working for $6 billion isn't going to mean anything. But they have to do something. They can't just sit there, but they have to do something. But I think we're on the same page on this one. If he did do it, small punishment. But even just because he was charged, the NFL has to do something because of their previous acts of doing something without proof. So they put themselves in a situation where they have to act.
And they're going to operate under the other premise that conduct detrimental to the league because he's affiliated with the NFL and he's associated with this. That means anybody, any owner, any player, any equipment manager, if you do something or somebody accuses you of something, whether you did it or not, you're going to face backlash from the NFL first, or regardless. Even if you come out like if you didn't do a damn thing wrong, and that's one of those things that this I'm gonna say this new NFL, the way the NFL operates, that really bothers me. And there's no way to fix it now because they've already set a precedent by going after people and doing things when the law itself, the boys in blue, the people that get paid to do this stuff, say that you didn't do anything wrong. The person who's accusing you of something is a liar. We don't believe them. The fact of the matter is, because of your job, what they accuse you of, you got a penalty.
Yeah, I've definitely been on my soapbox about this before as well. We're on the same page there. Like, for me, the FBI gets involved and says there's nothing here. Who does the NFL have that's better than the FBI? Like, that's so for me it's like, come on.
Well, when you put it like that, who in the FBI is making $22 million a year to be the commissioner, and just got that as a raise, and only travels by private jet. Like, I mean, okay, some FBI guys fly on Air Force One, but I mean, they're accompanying the president or whatever. But they don't have their own private jet, or not. They don't have their own usage of a private jet. Goodell don't own his own, but he can use it whenever the hell he wants.
Yeah, that's nuts, and he has that power to just swing his sword of punishment any type of way he wants to, and he has to.
Any way he feels.
Yeah, and he definitely has to do it in this situation. But we're on the same page on this one. I think a small punishment would be due just because of what they've already done before. So now let's move on to the upcoming NFL draft. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was a really big just hoopla about Kyler Murray's size. Is he 5'8"? Is he 5'9"? 5'10 and a half? How much will he weigh? Will he be 190, 200, even less than that? So he got measured at the combine. Turned out to be a little bit over 5'10", a little bit over 200 pounds. Do you think if he would have came in at 5'8", it would have been a really big hit to his draft stock if he would have came in under that 5'10" mark?
I believe so. I guess the benchmark is now at Russell Wilson's height because they believe Russell Wilson was too short. But they still drafted him in the third round. He had he ran well, he threw the ball well, he interviewed well. And as a third rounder, if you remember back, the Seahawks had signed the quarterback in free agency, Matt Flynn, and he was expected to be the starter. But Russell Wilson just outplayed him, won the job, and hasn't looked back yet. So because of Russell Wilson, they say, okay, well, if he can operate at 5'10", well, I don't know how they just group Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray in together because they don't play the same game. I'm sorry, let me get this straw and step that back up. They do play a similar game, but Kyler Murray is a lot more explosive. He can flat out run. But when has anybody ever been proud to be 5'10"? Like, hey man, I'm 5'10". No, your girl gonna look at you. Oh, can you point me to your 6-foot friend? Like, it's just not one of those things. But it's a huge deal because this is one big domino that can shake the whole rest of the draft and mess a whole lot of teams up and mess Vegas up because they bet on everything. So it's a big deal, but that wasn't even the most thing. The thing that got caught my attention at the combine, everybody was so enamored over this quarterback who didn't throw or stretch or do anything out there. He just measured, let you check his weight, his height and weight, and pretty much was done with everything.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. He's going to wait till pro day. What are your feelings towards that? Like when quarterbacks go, or even other positions go and just do one drill and don't compete in the whole combine. Do you have any feelings towards that, or do you think it's better for them to wait till their pro day?
I don't. When I went to the combine, I didn't do a damn thing. I wanted to. My agent advised me against it. It's like they're going to put you on every test. You're going to be sitting in rooms all day long. You're going to have, like, your time's going to be monopolized. You're not going to be able to get yourself truly ready to give your best performance. And that's one of the things they say. They want you in a stressful environment to see how you operate outside of that stress. But what they don't tell you is if you have bad numbers, those bad numbers stick with you forever. Even if you have a great pro day and an okay combine, what they're going to always be able to harken back to what you did at the combine. Oh, well, you ran 4.3 at your pro day, but you ran 4.7 at the combine because you had different shoes. Like, no, like, the best thing, this is your resume. This is a physical resume. You step out there not prepared and put something bad out there, you may not get a second look. It's best to wait. I mean, but for TV, NFL Network, you want your name blasted across everything and be the front line of every talk show host, whatever, talking about upcoming draft, then you should do it. Like, if you throw at your pro day, you're probably going to throw to your receivers that you work with during the season. You're going to be at your facility. You're going to sleep in your bed that night, wake up in the morning, get yourself together. You'll be able to do everything the way you want to do it to go out and perform your absolute best. So why would you do it at Indianapolis?
No, that's a very good point. So you said your agent told you not to work out. So did you go to the combine at all, measure at all?
I'm sitting there talking trash about Kyler Murray. I did the exact same thing. I height, weight, and got out. Height, weight, and met with teams and got out of there.
Okay, so you did do some interviews with some teams?
I did.
So when you do the interviews with the teams, we've always heard these stories about the crazy questions. Did you have any questions that caught you off guard?
No, my questions. I'm old enough where the questions hadn't lost their tact and learned how to talk to people back then. They still approached it as a business and asked all respectable questions, all questions pertinent to what you were going to be doing. So one of the questions I got asked was, I got one question that threw me was Tom Coughlin, and I was meeting with the Giant. No, he was the Jaguars coach at the time, and meeting with the Jaguars because they had a late first round pick, and that's where I was expected to go. He's like, when did you leave high school? 1996. Are you graduating? You about to graduate this year? I was like, no. He's like, why not? I'm like, because I don't have enough credits. And he kind of like, I don't know if you can envision Tom Coughlin, but he's got the glasses halfway down his nose. He pushes them up to his eyes and then looks back down at his paper. And then the rest of the people that were in the room with him began asking questions, and that was pretty much it.
Okay. But so it's definitely something that started off later with the crazy questions that you hear about. So you go to Combine, you just measure, you do the interviews. So how long was it between the Combine and your pro day?
My pro day Combine was early March. My pro day was a month later.
Okay, so you have your pro day, and at the pro day, you ran 4.3.
I had the best workout of my life that day. We ran on turf at West Virginia, so they have to mark your numbers up to adjust for grass, which I say is nonsense because half the teams had turf back at that time. But I ran 4.31, 4.33, weighed in at 222 pounds, 6'2", and 5'8", and I grew another 2/8 of an inch after my pro day.
Okay, so basically 6'3", 220, running a 4.3. So very similar to what we saw this past weekend with DK Metcalf.
Yeah, he's a little heavier than me. We had the same issues. Okay. I did not like running shuttles, and he ran horrible shuttles. I knew I would have a bit of a problem with the shuttle, so I kept working on it. I went and hid into the locker room and was practicing technique before I had to do it. So they actually had to come over and find me to do it, and I still didn't do exactly what I wanted to do with it, but I had respectable numbers in the shuttle.
Okay, so in the shuttle, is that something that's supposed to show how good you'll be going in and out of cuts on your routes? What does it show?
Exactly. Oh. It shows your start. How do you accelerate in the 5 yard? You start off in the middle, and then you kind of run to the left of 5 yards, and then turn and run to the opposite side for another 10 yards. And it's just they want to see how quick you get in and out of your brakes, how you transition, how you drop your weight, how you know how to plant and gather if you can do it. It's really how you move. The numbers, I don't know how important the numbers are because you don't really do that shuttle on the field ever except for this drill. But it shows you when you have if you can think about Julian Edelman or Wes Welker when they do those fake slant return routes where they start like they're going across the field, put a foot in the ground, and then go back toward their sideline. The shorter, smaller, lighter guys, they do that. It's like riding a bike to them. But if you're anything over 6 feet, 6.5 feet, and got a long stride, it's terrible to watch. It looks like a baby giraffe getting up and walking for the first time.
Okay. Now, with DK Metcalf, he's someone who suffered injury in college, so he doesn't have the numbers of other receivers. Do you think his combine was enough to where he should be a first-round pick?
First-round pick? It's tough to say. I mean, I can only know that the combine only tells me that he has good straight line speed. It shows me he's an explosive athlete with good straight line speed, but I have to watch tape, and then I don't know how much tape he has. I think they said he played 7 games last year and was out with injury, and that raises a flag to a lot of teams because if you're not on the field, you constantly in the training room hurt. You're not producing, and they waste a high tick on you. They could get somebody who's maybe a couple ticks slower than you, but has a clean injury history and pretty much plays every game. So it's like, what would you sacrifice? Would you sacrifice this physical specimen, the 6'3", 230-pound beast, but he is like a nice car with a bent rim? Like, you got a donut on there. You got a problem. You got a wobble in your car. Or you can go ahead and get yourself a dependable Toyota Camry where you can go ahead and know every day, rain, sleet, hail, or snow, it's going to be out there for you. So you want the Bentley with 3 nice rims and 1 donut, or the Camry that you know? Spend your money.
That's a very good analogy. Let's go back to Kyler Murray for a second. So there's been a lot of talk about the Arizona Cardinals. We both live here in the Arizona area, in the Phoenix area. There's been a lot of talk about the Arizona Cardinals maybe giving up on Josh Rosen and going out and getting Kyler Murray. Do you think that would be the right move for the Cardinals, to give up on Josh Rosen just after 1 year?
Well, you say give up. You say after 1 year. So, I mean, you pretty much lump your quarterbacks and your coaches together. So you fire Steve Wilkes after 1 year. It's kind of, that's pretty bad. That team wasn't a quarterback away from being a playoff team or respectable team. No offense to anybody who plays for Arizona, but everybody saw what the product they put out there was pretty bad. With that being said, I think it was Bill Parcells that came with the line like, if you want me to cook the dinner, you should let me shop for the groceries. Cliff Kingsbury had his hands on Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield, and he said that I would absolutely, I don't know the exact quote, but he wanted a chance to work with Kyler Murray. And not sure, but that seems like that would be like a match made in heaven. And if you're committing to this coach, you commit to this quarterback, I mean, you could do it. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of teams out there that are quarterback starved. So my line would be, if I were to take Kyler Murray, Josh Rosen is for sale. I mean, not for sale, but he's available. He is available, but I do want a first rounder because he's a 1 year removed from being the first rounder. And if he were in this draft, he would be a first rounder. If he stayed in school and was in this draft, he would be a first rounder, probably the first quarterback taken, just because of height, weight, skill, and
he's the prototype.
They measure the quarterback. So I would dangle that quarterback to the Dolphins for their first round pick, or something very a first round pick, or Laramie Tunsil. I play this game in my head. I would dangle him to the Giants for, if not their first round pick, you're gonna have to give me something, a Sterling Shepard and a 2 or something. Because the Cardinals aren't one player away, but if you have 2 quarterbacks, you need to make a move with one. Otherwise, you're gonna have a disgruntled room.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. For me, with Josh Rosen, it's hard to evaluate him last year because you said this team is so many more pieces away from being good. The offensive line was bad. You got a rookie quarterback behind a bad offensive line. So, like, what can you expect him really to do? You know, your best wide receiver is almost, the same age as you. So you get, it's Larry Fitzgerald, still very good, but, that's your best receiver at his age. Your running back, David Johnson's very good, but he didn't have a good year behind that line. So I feel like with Josh Rosen, they could give him more than, 1 year. But like you said, they also didn't give the coach more than 1 year. So if you truly want Kyler Murray, I like the idea of trading Rosen and getting maybe a first and a player, or a first and a third, something like that, for Rosen. So there's
And with that being said, somebody else is going to want Kyler Murray, and they want to get a chance to get it before anybody else. So my asking price would be two firsts. So I want your first round pick from this year right now, and I want in the future first round, maybe next year. And that's just what it's going to take to get up there. Now, if you view Kyler Murray as being that type of quarterback where you have to, he's going to change your franchise and he's going to be he's the quarterback that you want, then it's like one of those things you got to give up.
True. I feel like the Giants should definitely be in the sweepstakes for that. You know, with what's going on with them. You definitely got to think about the Jags no longer have to do it. You know, they got the Redskins definitely. You know, Alex Smith might not
have paid Alex Smith, and he may never play again. So that while it's bad for him, he still counts on their books. So that's one of the things with the salary cap.
Yeah, no, definitely.
The Giants, the Dolphins, they already said they tried to basically give away Ryan Tannehill. He's available. No one called.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would call for Ryan Tannehill. Like we've seen a very substantial amount of work from him, and it's not very impressive. Like he's had a couple of decent years.
You can't be too harsh on him. He got hurt a couple of times, and again, if you're hurt, that's not the team's fault or your fault. But either way, you're hurt. He got hurt at the end of 1 year and needed surgery. Didn't have surgery that year, and went into camp and got hurt again and was pretty much lost. So that was like 2 years right there for him. But I believe the year before that, he was better than decent, and better than decent isn't truly good per se, like when you're talking about a quarterback. But I mean, you can win with that if you got other strong pieces around him. So in the pinch, I could go with Tannehill, but I wouldn't outwardly search for Tannehill.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, if you have Tannehill on your team and he ends up being your starter, you're not upset, but you're not going out saying, I want to have Tannehill. Like, that's not somebody who you would go out and get. It's not like, you know, like the Jaguars, they'll much rather, like, they're going to sign Nick Foles. You see Nick Foles, you saw what he did in the playoffs the past 2 years. You're going to, you know, go out and try to get that, not try to go and trade something for Tannehill.
Okay, but let me stop you right here. Let me stop that real quick, because I think we had conversations about Nick Foles, the Saint Nick, and how great he is. Well, it wasn't that long ago that same Nick Foles was borderline Tannehill.
Yeah, that's true.
Huh?
I say, yeah, that's true.
And with that, everybody likes to blame it on Jeff Fisher and the Rams, but he was with the Eagles, and he had that one good year with the Eagles, and it didn't continue. Like when he was first with the Eagles, I mean, I remember watching because they played the Raiders, and he threw 7 touchdowns, and I was like, my God, Superman wears green. And then after that, he just kind of like just disappeared, and then I guess they I don't remember exactly how it went, Michael Vick or all the nonsense with Chip Kelly and everything, but Nick Foles may just be a product of Doug Peterson and that Philly system, and he may have caught lightning in a bottle, and that was the place where he fit. That's like, if you think about what if team in the 2000 draft, pick number 198, took Tom Brady. You expect the same thing? The coach and quarterback kind of work together. Kind of like I keep coming back to that.
No, it's very true.
So you'd hope that because the new O coordinator for the Jaguars was the O coordinator or one of the quarterback coach or O coordinator with the Eagles, you'd hope that they can do a lot of the same things with Philly and just be able to like give the defense a break in Jacksonville. I remember I was watching some show, and they said the defense thought they couldn't give up more than 10 points if they ever had a chance to win last year with Blake Bortles. Now, that's a name right there. He's going to get a job somewhere as a backup, and he may come in and do something. Blake Bortles has a lot on. He's a skilled player, but his time is up in Jacksonville.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely ran out his welcome. When you think about the chances they gave him, that extra year he got after they went to the AFC Championship game, you thought at least if he was just decent, they could make it back to the playoffs, and he didn't do that. And the thing is, he would have games like they beat the Patriots last year, and Blake Bortles balled out, and then he'll go back to being Blake Bortles.
Really quick though, like they did lose every receiver they had on that roster. Like I only know that because we played fantasy football, and the Jacksonville offense was just a place. It was like a deserted island. There was nobody you could choose from. But D.D. Westbrook, collegiate Biletnikoff Award winner out of Oklahoma, played with Baker Mayfield and whoever else was over there at Oklahoma, throwing it all over the lot, doing great things. Marquise Lee, the guy from USC, he's a ball player. Like, they were later picks, but still, like, good players. But both of them, you lose your 1 and 2 receiver. Most teams can't go 3-4 deep at receiver. So you lose your 1 and 2. Your quarterback's thrown to, I don't know, guys that almost college free agents that they got to fill the roster with because they paid so much money for everybody else, and they just got people that get in, that fit in numbers-wise, like dollars-wise, and that's not a good way to show what your quarterback can do. So that's another reason I say that Blake Bortles, like, he gets a lot of the blame, but he had everything go against him because he had everything go against him. Because if you watch him in the AFC Championship game, the year when the Jaguars were in the playoffs, he did not play a bad game. He actually played a damn good game, and that right there prompted them to think that he had turned the corner. And yeah, everything else happened afterward.
No, I definitely agree with that. He played a really good game. I feel like they didn't trust him enough in the fourth quarter in that game. I think if they would have trusted him more, the Jaguars would have been in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's weird to say, Jaguars in the Super Bowl.
It is. It definitely is. Now, let's shift sports right now. Let's shift over to basketball. You are a LeBron fan.
Yeah. Probably the biggest.
And LeBron's going to miss the playoffs this year for the first time since his second year in the league.
Probably.
Yeah, it's not official yet. It's not official yet.
LeBron and Zion, you could go ahead and put those as your tight ends and play some football.
Yeah, that's true. Those are two big physical specimen that could probably play any sport they chose. And I'm glad they chose basketball. So with LeBron, set up to miss the playoffs this year, what are your thoughts on just that alone? What are your thoughts on what's going on with the Lakers? Who's to blame? What should they do going forward? What are your whole thoughts on that situation?
Well, because of the purple and gold, I like the Lakers. Because of LeBron, I'm going to pretty much follow LeBron anywhere he goes. And I thought that LeBron will be able to get something out of these young guys. And if you really think about it, like up until Christmas, he was getting something. He was getting the best that they had. And then he went down. And that team was just lost. It's like a ship without a rudder. It's just out there in the middle of the ocean trying to find a direction, and it never did. And then he comes back from injury and professes he's activated the playoff mode already, and they were however many games out of the 8th spot. Right? That's just foreign territory to him. And I can't blame it on anybody because, injuries happen. Injuries happen in all sports. I'm going to blame it on Dale Demps more than anything because they told him, if you make this trade, we're going to fire you. He didn't make the trade. Anthony Davis got a little elbow to the back of the shoulder and left the building. He got fired. So that trade, everything the Lakers were offering, I don't know what the exact things were. Was it Kuzma, Ball, Ingram, and Hart plus 3 first-rounders or whatever, however it was, you're not going to get a better trade than that. Like, that was the time you go ahead and You take those players in, and I mean, I hate to say tank, but you tank. And you let those things, so you let them, but you kind of like, you instill like your philosophy of basketball and what you expect out of them as players. But this is a lost year because Anthony Davis already pretty much told you guys that I don't want to be here anymore. And if you get a player that's playing for you that don't want to play for you, you're not going to get his heart. You're going to get like the bare minimum. And my thought is they messed up by even like letting the trade nonsense get out, letting it know what was being offered, and then when the trade didn't go through, like the young guys for the Lakers are like, well, I mean, they trying to trade me, so I'm basically used part. So I don't think you don't see that fire in them. Like if I'm like on that verge of missing the playoffs, or these guys never made the playoffs. If I'm that close to making the playoffs, I can taste it. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and you might see some Superman-like efforts to make it. But these guys, it don't seem like they have that push or that fire at all. Maybe it's because they've never been there, so they don't know what it is. But I mean, it's a different animal.
No, I definitely, with the whole Anthony Davis thing, I actually think the Pelicans did the right thing, not taking the trade, because come this summer, you'll get to see who has the best draft picks. Other teams will get involved in the deal. That Lakers still be there. And
you hope it would. If I'm them, that was my offer for right then. My offer I extend after that is going to be less. And then if you really think about it, like Anthony Davis already showed his hand that he's not going to sign long term with anybody. So if I don't know, just throw a random team. If I'm the Miami Heat and I can offer you 4 first rounders and this player and this player, and you tell me that Anthony Davis won't re-sign with me, so I'm basically renting a player for me restructuring my entire franchise, that's a no for me, dog. I'm not giving you that trade either. So I think the glitz and glamour of what they're going to get, the haul they're expecting to get for Anthony Davis, is going to be shrink. It's going to shrink to multiple picks and a player, maybe 2 players. But I don't think that the Lakers Lakers would give up that much, or any other team is going to give up that much when he's already said he's not going to resign there.
yeah, he's going back on that as well. At the All-Star break, he was saying that he's available for all 29 teams. He just wants to win. So he's going back and forth on it.
That's media coaching by Rich Paul. He already knows. It's already it's unwritten. I mean, it's unspoken, but it's there. Like, you know, he's not resigning not resigning anywhere unless it's where he wants to be. And they're going to want that agreement. Teams are going to want that agreement. Tell me if I have this player right here, tell me, would you give me 4 first-round picks or 3 first-round, multiple first-round picks and multiple players to just get this guy out into my building, and you think you can wow him and think you can make him stay? Nah, man, that's not. It's just, that's fool's gold right there.
It could be fool's gold, but people are going to. There's GMs that are fools, so there's definitely going to be somebody who's going to take that chance and going to offer the crazy deal for Anthony Davis this summer. You know, it's going to be teams like the Knicks, who may have the first overall pick, who are going to be willing to offer that pick and picks for years to come, trying to get Anthony Davis, trying to get somebody in their building who can not attract the audience, because the Knicks never have a problem with that, but just to bring some type of winning to the Knicks. So there's going to be deals out there. So I wasn't mad at the Pelicans for not taking that Lakers deal and not being bullied into it.
Hey, settle down, Homer guy. It's like the draft pick that would be able to get you Anthony Davis has to be top 2 or 3, because the Ja Morant, Zion, I'm not sure about the everybody else that they're claiming the lottery picks. I mean, they're decent players in college, but they look like they need another year or 2. So outside of Ja Morant and Zion as a pick, like, nah, you offer me the number 4 pick overall plus players. Yeah, not enough. That's still a no for me, dog.
Yeah, it's got to be a first or second overall for this pick to.
So right there says that whoever gets the first round, the first pick with the lottery balls, don't be surprised if the Lakers get the first pick, because you know how they like to maneuver things and make things seem like, oh, it's happenstance or coincidence. But how many years did the Cavaliers get the first pick overall? Like 3 out of 4? That just doesn't seem right. If the Lakers don't make the playoffs, they get the first pick overall with the very worst odds.
Oh.
I'm going to go on record saying, yes, that's going to happen.
That'll be tough. That'll be tough.
That'll be the trick. That'll be the trick that gets Anthony Davis this summer. You throw the first pick overall, which could be Zion or whoever else they want, and I throw Lonzo Ball. I don't mind Lonzo Ball, but I throw Lonzo Ball just to get his dad away from me. Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and the first pick overall. That's all I'm giving.
The thing is with Lonzo Ball, I don't mind Lonzo as a player. Like, he's a good defender. He still can't shoot. Like, I feel like I personally could beat Lonzo in a shooting contest. But when you think about Lonzo Ball, he's not playing right now. And there's a lot of times when he's not playing because he's always hurt. So as a Pelicans...
He gets hurt around every trade deadline.
It does seem like that. Yeah, he gets hurt on every trade deadline. So with Lonzo Ball, if you're a Pelicans GM or a Pelicans fan like myself, I don't want Lonzo Ball to be the guy who I'm trying to like have as the point guard of the future when he's always off the court. And it seems like he's more interested in rapping than he is basketball. He out here making beef songs about his teammates. You know, he out here battling T-Pain on Drop the Mic. But I don't see him on the court. I see more of his commercials about him rapping in his ugly shoes than I do him actually see him playing. So,
hey, I mean, I can't say anything because I'm just constantly watching the Lakers keep getting the second pick overall and do nothing with it. But the 1 second pick overall became an all-star once he got away from LA. So what's to say that Lonzo away from LA it may make him focus more on ball and become that point guard that you want. Because D'Angelo Russell, he's quantified however you want. He left the Lakers with the Brooklyn Nets, and he's an all-star. So
now D'Angelo Russell is legit. He's a legit player now. Someone who.
But did you say D'Angelo Russell was legit when he had on purple and gold?
I did think he was a good player. Like, I did think he was a good player. He had the whole thing that happened with him and Nick Young that made people look at him sideways. But I always thought he was a good player.
I think that the Nick Young thing was just a young guy trying to put something funny on Snapchat, and he didn't know that Nick Young was going to give up the tapes like that. Nick told on himself. I mean, it may have worked out for the best for all parties involved. I'm pretty sure Nick's out there doing his thing. Or the ex-girlfriend's out there doing their thing. D'Angelo got out of L.A. Now he's in Brooklyn doing his thing. I bet you don't nobody confess anything to him anymore, but he's out there balling and people passing him the ball, but the team is working. I don't know where they are in the stands, whether they make the playoff or not, but I mean, all things being equal, it kind of worked out.
Yeah, now the Nets are going to make the playoffs. The Nets, I believe, are in the 6th spot in the Eastern Conference right now. They might even move up to 5th or 4th. Like, they're playing pretty good behind D'Angelo Russell and, Dinwiddie and those guys. So he's, like I say, he's balling. He's leading a team that's going to make the playoffs this year. So I do feel like the Lakers probably deep inside probably do regret, letting him go to have Lonzo. Like I say, even though Lonzo's a good defender, he still can't shoot the ball, and at the end of the day, you got to be able to put the ball in the hole.
Look at Julius Randle. Randle left. He should have been one of the guys that they found a way to keep last year because he's out there. I just looked at his numbers. He's 29-3, 20 points, damn near 9 rebounds and 3 assists a game in New Orleans. Like, that's quality work.
Yeah, man, he's been balling.
He's a left-handed bully out there. I mean, you can't tell me your team couldn't use that, but you let him walk in free agency to sign Rondo and Michael Beasley and all the rest of these people. Like, man, if you grow it and see it grow up yourself, you got to go ahead and keep your hands on it. Like, that's one Julius Randle evolved so much from maybe his first year, second year to last year with the last year with the Lakers. The dude was balling. And, we can't keep you. We're going to renounce your rights because we got to get LeBron in. There was other ways to do that. They should have made more of an effort to keep him.
Definitely. Now, he's been balling in New Orleans. I'm hoping that we sign him for next year to, try to put together some type of team without Anthony Davis. But he's been balling. Like you said, left-handed bully. You know he's going left. You still can't stop it.
Exactly.
So he's a monster. So back to LeBron James.
Are we about to talk about the white elephant in the room?
So
you talk about the white elephant in the room?
You tell me what the white elephant in the room is.
Well, upon LeBron James scoring point number 14 tonight in tonight's contest, he will surpass his airness and into fourth place on the all-time scoring list. Now, I can only tell you, as somebody you looked up to, for you to eclipse one of their records, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to clap, and I may shed a tear. That is awful. Like, to pass Jordan on anything, he passed him in playoffs. Oh, but you play more playoff games nowadays, blah, blah, blah. Everybody who claims, I say claims?
Yes.
Everybody who claims that Jordan is better than LeBron, they're like a Jordan apologist, and they pick every fight to go against what LeBron is doing instead of just realizing that we saw Michael Jordan do this. This guy, no matter how he did it, has more numbers, has eclipsed Michael Jordan's numbers in this. At the end of the day, instead of picking one, just appreciate both.
No, I definitely agree with that.
That's my
I appreciate both. Now, I still have Michael Jordan as my greatest, but I do appreciate...
What?
Say that again?
Greatest what? I mean, LeBron's top 10 scoring and assists. Oh, that's basketball. It's more to basketball than just scoring. Sorry, go ahead, finish.
Nah, it's very true. Like, LeBron's stats are amazing, right? But I do feel like Jordan was still the better player. He's underrated as far as his passing. Got you over 5, pretty much 6 assists a game. Defensively,
underrated because he didn't do it much.
So you saying he didn't do it much, but he was getting you almost 6 assists a game.
That's because everybody thought you weren't going to pass it, so they'll just leave people. You get triple team, you have to throw it to somebody. I mean, I'm pretty sure he shot in those triple teams too.
Yeah, and still was making it. What you mean? He was very efficient. He wasn't Kobe or Allen Iverson, nothing like that. He was very efficient.
I mean, no. He's had his games like Iverson or Kobe where he's been like 15 for 35. LeBron's had his bad games too, but like at a certain point, like you got to stop shooting. Like I don't know what that magic number is. The number for me is like 10. If you ain't at least 50% at 10. Maybe you ought to pass to somebody else. These guys are pros too.
No, that's true. He had some games, but he was more efficient than not efficient. He wasn't. He never was someone like a Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Like Russell Westbrook, at times you're like, stop shooting, bro. Like, stop it. Like you're yelling at the TV. So he never was at that point. And for his career, he still was at 49.8% or something like that. So he's very efficient. And also with Jordan, he made all defense like 10 times. LeBron stopped playing defense like 5 years ago. At age 34.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
Can you consistently run your offense, defend your best player, and score the points that you need? You say, how many years ago you say that?
Like 5
years ago?
Like 5 years ago he stopped playing defense.
So that's year 11. You still do everything your team needs. So you're supposed to still be able to do that in year 16.
No, I'm not saying defend the best player, but I'm saying at least play D.
That's a stretch. I didn't say like what I'm seeing is people watching basketball and see like the Kuzma thing, where Kuzma pushes LeBron out toward a guy. Was that LeBron's guy he was guarding? The NBA is playing some type of matchup zone. Through all the passes in the rotations, Kuzma couldn't get there. LeBron was close. It was easy to push him than anything. Like, the defense that's being played, it's more than, like, when somebody score, it's not just one person. Otherwise, you can go ahead and just snatch that person out and get somebody else to do what they're supposed to do. The rotations rotations are bad in the NBA. That's why a lot of people score the way they do. Like, defense isn't played, like, hard, like they used to. Like, they'll concede to somebody getting an open shot, whereas back in the day, you weren't giving up layups, and the open shot wasn't happening. You were defending everything. That's why the scoring is now, like, it's commonplace to see a game 110 to 118, and you call that low scoring. Low scoring, when I was watching basketball when I was a kid, was under 100, 90 to 88, 90 to 79 or whatever. That was a good hard-fought game. So no one plays the defense that they played in the Jordan era, and they're not allowed to. So you kind of got to conceive that, okay, these guys are hitting shots, getting open shots.
Yeah, that's true. But you still can have individuals that stand out defensively, like Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, those guys stand out defensively because they're still, even in this era, stand out defensively.
Let me stop you right there for a second, because when Kawhi Leonard got MVP of the Spurs championship, he held LeBron to a triple-double, and that was a defensive standout.
I'm not talking about against LeBron. I'm talking about like every single night.
No. I'm calling the defense that they call good now. I'm calling it trash. Because if you're a defensive standout, first of all, your player that you guarding should not have 30 points. Like, that just shouldn't. That's just not a thing unless your defensive standout is guarding a player on the team like Iverson in the 01 76ers, where he was the entire offense. Every play he was going to shoot it. Now, if you hold that to 30 throughout a series, I mean, as long as he had a bad like he had to shoot 30 plus times to get it, you'd be okay with that. But to allow a man to have a 30 plus point triple double, like. Defense, at least you tried. I think that was just a participation trophy because they didn't have anybody else to get the finals MVP to. So I'm not just attacking Kawhi. I'm just saying the defense is bad. Like, whoever they call defense, like the defensive standout, it really hasn't been.
So I feel like that helps my argument even more, though. So you're saying defense as a whole today is trash, and LeBron isn't even the best of the defenders today.
No. What I'm saying is we're going to have to agree to disagree on this, because this is going to take probably like a couple hours and a whiteboard and some other things for me to get my point across.
No, we definitely can agree to disagree on it. I do think it's a great accomplishment that he's going to pass up Michael Jordan tonight. I'm not poo-pooing on that at all. To be able to score that many points and be this consistent over 16 years is amazing. I have LeBron as my second greatest player of all time. I don't think there's anything to sneeze at, right? And I do think he's starting to slip a little bit, though. Like, I know this may be blasphemy to ask you this question, but do you think he's still the best player in the world today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what player doesn't have a down portion of the year? Like, his down year, what is his down year numbers going to look like? Sorry, my door's open. A down year, his numbers are still going to say 27 plus points, upwards of 8 rebounds, somewhere near upwards of 7 assists, and that's a down year. Like, because he's not making the playoffs, he slipped. He didn't slip. Like, he just wasn't able to. He didn't play the entire season. He wasn't able to get more out of the young guys or the team that he was surrounded with. I can't even say surrounded with, the team that he built. Because a lot of those picks, those free agent acquisitions, 1-year deals, and such the way they made those things, and I'm pretty sure he had a lot of say in that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that he's a horrible GM. Great player. Horrible GM.
I've always said he's a bad GM. Like, oh my goodness. He could have had Andrew Wiggins to to learn beside him and have another 6'7" athletic wing, but he wanted to get Kevin Love. You could have got Kevin Love a year later free and not give up anything. So yeah, nah, dude, you can't take your GM hat off. Maybe you should coach. You know, the players usually end up coaching or being GMs. Yeah. You don't have to go the X and O route.
He's more the owner type. I don't see him. I don't think he has the patience to coach a team, especially with young players, stuff like that. I don't think he'll be able to do that. Like we've seen his interactions with young players and how that's gone. So yeah, I definitely think he's more the owner, and he's going to delegate the duties out. But the Wiggins thing, I think was one of the few good deals that he made. When you think about Wiggins. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the show. My man JP got to go. But
well, again, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that, because at 18, 19 years old, you couldn't like shit. I think Andrew Wiggins would have been a different player had he had proper leadership going forward. But again, we can make that topic address that another time.
Okay. No, we definitely could address it another time. Like I said, I'll definitely have you on the show going forward. Like I said earlier, you are a staple of The Real Deal with Damian Adams family to the show. So I want to thank you for coming on. And like I said, we'll definitely will go ahead and resume these discussions later. I will let you go ahead and go and get ready to celebrate and cry some tears when LeBron passes Michael Jordan tonight on the scoring list.
Yeah. You know, I just appreciate you having me on and allowing me this platform to go ahead and talk about how LeBron's the greatest. Take care, sir. I'll talk to you in a bit.
All right, sir.
Bye.
All right. I want to thank Jerry for coming on one more time. But on this point of LeBron, I do think that the Kevin Love trade was the right deal, especially looking back, because Andrew Wiggins now is one of the worst contracts in the NBA. Making over $25 million a year for what? But great show tonight, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Please let your friends and family know about the show. Go ahead and follow me at The Real Deal WDA. That's The Real Deal. W as in whiskey, D as in Delta, A as in Alpha. And until next time, go real or go home.